Well, hello there, everyone. Here, show you right here is like talk about right here, for what we think, and basically this drawing right here is I went ahead and put together right here and use right here is I'll go ahead and select right here as a pen right here with the pencil tool. But you see right here is I went ahead and worked right here is like for some illustration work for what we think, and if anybody were to be warned to where that I'm like yeah that these right here will be drawings right here of some students. If this was right here was me right here, if I were to be in class right here, and this right here would be like a, if you want to call it maybe a reading book, textbook, or anything like that, that could be at the desk here, and you have right here an example right here of a student, and I went and drew these as like if these were right here were, and these right here were girls, and then this would be like a guy right here. So about a class that would contain about on average about maybe 6 or 7 guys, and then about 67 ladies, women. But on the other hand, at a class of about maybe 15 or 20 other students, and on my warrant tour, I know that for those students in class, other those other video activities I posted about those sketches and stuff and colorings. But on the other hand, that this what he will be talking about is like to where that we're classmates. And I know that whenever if I were to be walking into the classroom and then sitting at the desk right here and doing my work, and sometimes that I keep on to where sometimes that whenever I do walk into the classroom that I keep thinking necessarily to where that while I'm working, and then thinking about all those other students that they're in there, to do their work as well. But then just knowing about what they're thinking about, yeah, that do you know that young fella? Hey, how you doing, or anything like that. So that I tend to wonder to where I keep thinking if that's just what you call is just me to where while I'm working on the work, and then all of a sudden it's like yeah that being around these groups of kids, these groups, if you want to call it groups of students, is to where that they could be maybe kids also, is to where that being in, being around a group of students or people, if it's going to be maybe a gathering group or anything like that, any other type of activity, and that sometimes that you tend to like with me though that I tend to think about as to where that well you'll feel kind of embarrassed if I have a question about something, or while I'm doing my work that I know few other students that like we say sometimes that to where I feel like about to say is to where yeah that for what they're thinking about necessarily to where like you're funny, you're cute or something like that. So I keep thinking that while I'm working on my work, is that one of them could be looking at me and thinking about us to where yeah, that you come to class and you do your work, but sometimes that really that sometimes that you kind of what you call that and I know sometimes I do feel like a what you call like a blind spot to where that a lot of students, about 3 or 4 students or so, are talking about something, and if that's about maybe something related to a story or anything like that, or if it's anything that's related to topic or any type of discussion what they're talking about in class, and sometimes it gets kind of aggravating to where that whenever I don't have a time or able to where I can speak for whenever they do call my name or anything like that. But on the other hand, this right here, the example right here of like what you call kind of like a regular class, and I know that told a few people like from other postings about yeah that being in a regular class that basically means like yeah that the way how people learn a little bit differently, and as well as for how they do the work. But on the other hand too, what am I usually thinking about whenever I'm in class a lot of times? Sometimes I keep thinking about, trying to get my work done on time, and knowing about, yeah, that if you're going to be on time with your work and knowing about what kind of attention that more likely you're getting. And let's just say this, if this was right here was an example right here of me, and let's just say that I don't know what other people are thinking about whenever they, I could be sitting next to about I could be sitting next to about two or three other students, and then they may think and be like that talking about us like to where that yeah that whenever they're in class, well, along with whenever I'm in class, whenever we're all in class together, that they kind of keep to themselves and do their work. But then whenever class is over with, and then they may start talking to you, or they may, and sometimes it like I may want to feel part of the group too. So you'll like one to where high five, hey, excellent work for getting it done or something like that. But then it's like somebody else got the pat on the back. So this right here will be an example right here of me if I were to be in class and doing my work, and then a few of these other students that after about maybe 4 weeks or so after the full quarter of class, that they don't really say too much to you until you start working more on something, and then they actually see it. Which I know that like whenever they do graduate, that there are a lot of things that they may warn to about is knowing about that, for the basic guidelines about, do be kind to one another and then respect each other, and you comment on their work, that type of stuff. But the way I think about it, though, is that the way I went through this right here is that this was right here with me, and then along with about maybe 4 or 5 or more other classmates. And I keep thinking as to where that, if you want to feel part of the group, then maybe you may have to, do some of the more of the work, for what's asked for, and as well as, for getting, getting other students, say, attention to where that, anything that you want to talk about. So I guess there may be a number of ways of how to make friends and how to meet other people and how to communicate. But then on the hand too, for what I usually think about is to where that I usually go by is to where that I usually think to my mind, you kind of go on a daydream to where I'm like, if you're real nervous, about being around all these other all these other students right here, and you're like one to where, that the best chances are is that don't talk to them, do your work, turn in your assignment, but then after about 5 or 6 weeks, it seems like that they start, they may start talking to you, and as well as start communicating. But I keep thinking though that on average, to where that at some point to where that whenever I do wind up in that situation to where I do feel like I'm part of the spotlight. And what do I usually mean by a part of the spotlight is that whenever I'm working on something, and then I feel sometimes like people are kind of real curious about what I was working on and what I was doing, and then what I for any type of thing for any of my attention that more likely that concerns them. And I on the other hand too also think about is to where that really I didn't think anybody really even cared knowing about what I was working on, because let's just say if I was working on a paper or two, and you're like, weren't like, that was not a party assignment, that was just something that I wrote, from just for my spare time. So anybody that may want to where that if you write a paper or two, and just like an add-on or something like that, if you want to write a paper or two, a little bit about what you were working on in class, and then it's like, that they may ask to see that paper too, and you're like, well, that was not a party assignment, but on your hand, it like works like with other opinions, but other students. But on your hand, the way I think about it, though, is that being in this being in the class with about 5 or more students, and I'm like Warren to where that a lot of times those students are not talking to you. That you may want you may say a few things to them, but then they're not gonna say a few things to you. But then on your hand, it seems like that knowing about that that you come to class, but on their hand, that I guess it goes by the rules as to where that yeah, that maybe that they're not required to talk to you or any kind, and on your hand too, maybe they don't understand you, and then on your hand, that really about what they, it seems like that there's like a requirement, and just to be a part of the big picture sometimes is what I, usually also wear too, is to wear that, for what I need to do, just to, allow, those other viewers and like for anybody else to communicate with me, any questions that they may have. And it seems like a lot of times it's over speech. It's like over that, oh, they don't understand what you're saying, they don't understand your writing or anything like that. So with this right here being me right here, if I were to be studying in class, and sometimes that I don't know what all of these other students are thinking about. If they could be thinking about, well, yeah, you come to class, but you don't talk too much, or you don't really socialize too much, and then one of them that could be like, you're cute, you know that. So I don't know really what all these other students could be thinking about while I'm in class, but let's just say that maybe after the finals and then maybe at towards graduation, that maybe a few of them they may start talking to you a little bit more, and I know a few students that I may have known from classmates that I may have known from a while back that they say yeah, you remember me, don't you? Like, yeah, but you didn't talk to me too much. Like, well, I was just mainly concentrating on what I had to do in class. But so it seems like to where anybody will likely say just because these students are not very talkative to you, I guess that don't mean that they don't like you. That don't mean that they don't have anything to say to you. I guess they more likely mean it's to where that they're just trying to do their work. But then, what am I thinking about whenever I'm in a class with about 15 or more students along with the teacher and then the tutors, is just think about as to where that, I also think about something to get my mind off the stress and off the anxiety as well, is that yeah, these students that, you walk into the classroom and then, few of them that, they already, they're reading the notes and then they don't have any problems with understanding something. But then sometimes I may come up to that point to where that I keep thinking that trying to get something done, and when am I seeing wrong, anything like that. So we may have heard that before, to where all students learn about different ways and how they study, but the way I think about it is to where that, yeah, that, I was used to a lot of times to where that whenever I come to school is that, you write down notes and then you write a paper or two about something, but then on your hand too that, there was one time to where I wasn't very talkative. And I kept thinking about the time where I wasn't very talkative, is to where a lot of times those students or whoever that may say that you need to be a little bit more talkative, socialize with all the other students. So I know that these other students, that we may not know each other there at the beginning, but then maybe towards the first and second semester or something like that, they might they might want to reach out to all their other classmates and then ask them questions. Hey, do you remember me? Or and then I know that a few of them that may want to share, and I know I like to share a lot of work that I may have done. I may have, figured out, maybe from after class hours or something I want to share. And sometimes I do get kind of aggravated whenever it seems like maybe people that just don't want to take interest. And it seems like to where that, yeah, what exactly are you thinking about? I could maybe be thinking about something that I may be doing later on, tonight, at home or something like that, working on a paper or two, or maybe doing some artwork or anything that involves brainstorming ideas. But on the hand too, what exactly are we thinking about necessarily? We use our, you say, imagination, our minds almost every day, and one of those would be as to where that, exactly what exactly are you thinking about, as to where that, yeah, that I'm also thinking about that, for anything that that's going on, could be going on within the daily, weekly schedule, and then for what I think that would work best, and then for knowing about what I gotta do just to kind of think as to where to figure this out about how this works, how that works, looking at a paper for what I got to do and what I assume that this is what I got to do. So anybody say if it makes you feel better is like, yeah, is that whenever you're in class and you're going to get nervous about being around all those other students, I keep thinking about is to where that yeah that I go in, I think of maybe you know one the work that I practice a lot of times on, and then as well as like any if it's going to be comedy skits or anything like that, I go into daydream about people that any rehearsings or anything like that, plays or movies or anything like that. I keep thinking about plays or movie listings that could be on or this towel or stuff like that. But sometimes I also think to my mind as to where what exactly is the teacher going to say whenever I turn in an assignment and I could be missing something. So I just want to know how to handle that. So, and I'm sure that all these other kids would more likely think as to where you have a sense of humor or what's your name? So sometimes they may say one or two words to you, but then sometimes they may just seem like that they are not interested in talking to you. So the way I think about it, though is like with my situation that whenever I think cause like you for want to be a part of the spotlight to where that with the class that sometimes that when they can get their attention to where at some point to where whenever I do get their attention about whenever I do find out about how this works about what I know about this paper and what I want to talk about this subject matter, stuff like that, about what I learned about this program or anything like that. So that's just the whole part about it, is like if for being in a regular class is that that's something that I did want to do is being like all the other kids, being socialized and getting to know all the other kids. And like with me though, that having a disability that kind of limited to my ability to where that how I learn compared to all the other kids. So it's like wondering to where all those other students that they may say like they're there for higher education, maybe for a degree for something, but I'm like say is like I try to learn as best I can too for higher education. Just thinking about as to where that for my education goes is like to where I try to be as supportive as talkative, and then talk and discuss, and then anybody that may warrant to where that that you seem to be one of the only students with the only problems, and maybe I may say is to where that well I don't know, maybe I enjoy having my own problems because maybe I can figure out a way to how solve my own problems. So it's like if that's about a question about something, then maybe if anybody say, "Are you pretty good at asking your own questions and seeking your own answers?" and you're assuming that this is the case or that's the case. But on the other hand, they have right here these examples right here. Some students for what we think, and I thank you for thanks for watching. Like I say for happy learning, and as well as to get along with each other for the rest of the class. And I say thanks for watching. Have a great day.